Get in here. Okay, cool. Hey everyone, what's up? I'm here with the bad boy of the dating game, Mr. Locario today. How you doing, buddy?
What's going on? I'm chilling. What's good with you? How's everything?
Everything is just going great. Like I said, I've just been out of action for a couple of weeks because I was sick. I'm just kind of getting back in there, getting my groove on with the girls. And after the
Right.
show, I got a date tonight and a date tomorrow.
Right.
so it's
Okay.
never a dull moment on that. And on top of that, I'm doing work on my web design business, and then I finally got my book all done, so I'm going to post that this weekend. I got sidetracked with getting sick, so I'm just like ready to get back in there and kick some ass.
Right. Right. No, that's cool. That's how you got to do it, man.
Yeah, right, buddy. We wanted to talk anything before we go into the show. Anything new that you want to tell your viewers that's going on, or
Yeah, just same old. Just go. Make sure you guys go to Bad Boy Membership. Go to badboymembership.com. That's the site. So you guys can get 45 through 90-minute audio and video dating advice tutorials every month. So that is the spot to make this shit happen. You feel me? But yeah.
rock and roll. Yeah, and I'll put the link here in the description when we're done and everything, so they can go if they want to go check that out. They can check that out and stuff.
Right.
But so today, we wanted to talk to you about some of the signs that that a woman is wasting your time, because I think a lot of guys fail to realize that,
Right.
and they put a lot of time, energy, and money into their dating with the girls, and it gets nowhere, and they get frustrated, and they're like, what the heck's going on?
Right. Well, yeah, that's a big issue just in general when it comes to guys dating women, because a lot of guys don't realize that women, they will be in situations with men that they don't even necessarily like. So if, a lot of guys think just because a woman's giving him attention, that means that she's interested in him in a sexual way, or that she wants to be with him, which is not true, because women can use guys just for attention, just for an ego boost. So women will do that all the time. And so for a woman, it's not wasting her time, because that's valuable time for her, because that's time where she feels, okay, I'm desirable. These guys want to talk to me. These guys want to interact with me. And she can use that to her advantage. But for men out there, that's not anything that's good for you, because if you're actually trying to date these women, have sex with these women, hook up with these women, whatever it is that you're trying to do, and things aren't going the way you want it to go, then you're pretty much wasting your time and not realizing, that she never was interested in you in the first place. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
So what is it about, you're saying that women like to do it for the attention and ego boost and stuff? What is it? Why do you think they get a thrill out of that? Is it just part of is it this is the way they are, that they know that they can string a guy along like that? Why do you think that is? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean, well, one of the things you got to understand is that for most women, not all, but most women, what it is when they get attention that doesn't have to do with sex, that's extremely valuable, because it's easy for women to get sex. So if a woman can extract attention from you that has nothing to do with sex, then she feels like, okay, well, I'm winning. I'm getting more out of this guy, in the situation. Because the hardest thing for a woman to do is to get attention from a guy that's non-sexual. The hardest thing for a guy to do is to get attention from a woman that is sexual. You see what I'm saying? So for a guy, it's like, okay, if we get sex, then it's like, yes, we did what we wanted to do, and we're happy with those results. For a woman, if she can get attention outside of sex, that's a win for her, because she didn't have to have sex to get the guy interested, or get him to want to do other things with her. So a lot of times women are looking at ways to get attention that's non-sexual, so that she can feel like, yes, I'm actually getting I'm getting the thing that is hard for me to get, which is the attention that's non-sexual. So that's why a woman will go on 3-4 dates with a guy and then be like, I just don't feel like there's any chemistry here, because she may not necessarily felt any chemistry or liked him from the beginning, but she's like, well, he's going to take me out to dinner. He's going to take me out to get drinks. He's going to talk to me on the phone. And so what happens is that she says, well, I can at least get that out of him. And so I can feel good about that. The fact that I had a guy who was, interested in doing that with me, even if it's not real, still it's got to be authentic. Like, the guy could just be going through the motions to try to get to the sex. But the fact that it's happening is the important part about it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You think in order to like avoid that though, like guys should be like more direct with the intentions rather than like going through the motions, because if like they're going through the motions, they might get suckered into like just wasting our time and just kind of listening to the women, even though even they're trying to work at sex, but they figure, well, they got to just like go at it one step at a time rather than just get straight to the point.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's the key. See, being direct, what it'll do is it's always going to eliminate the women who are going to waste your time. And also what'll happen is that you'll start to see indications of a woman who is going to be a time waster even before she wastes your time. So for example, myself and Mouse talk about this, where let's say you match with a girl on an online dating site or whatever, right? And the first message you send her is a message saying, hey, what's up? How about we get together this weekend and get a drink, right? When are you free, right? So you say that to her in the first message. Now, let's say she responds with something like, oh, hey, like she says something else, anything besides getting the drink or when she's free. So she might say something like, oh, so how come you don't have your Instagram attached to your profile or something like that? She can ask anything, but as long as what she's saying or responding to isn't about what you asked her, she's usually a time waster, because what she's doing is she's already trying to extract attention and waste time by not being responsive to what you asked her. So if you say, hey, when are you free? Are you free to get together Friday? The only thing she should respond to is whether or not she's free to get together Friday. If she's responding to anything else besides that, that's a sign that this woman is most likely going to be a chick who's trying to just get attention and who's going to waste your time. You see what I'm saying?
Right, exactly. I've gotten that. Like I noticed that after watching your videos. Like, and I've seen like, normally like if you're just forward with the girl and they like totally like they bring up something different and they're not going with the flow. Normally, I know that's the waste of time.
Right.
Or if I mention or sometime I remember one time I just say, hey, let's go and have drinks. And the girl's like, well, how about we go to this brunch place and do brunch?
Right. Exactly. Oh God, I hate that.
Yeah, I get that. And I don't really like to buy food on a first date. I don't, not until after I at least had sex with the person, because but I used to be like that. Like, and then I realized, like, I go buy these girls dinner or lunch or whatever it was, and they would never call me again.
Right. Exactly. And see, that's a sign where, if a woman is not really cooperating with what you're saying, you understand, that is a sign that she's most likely going to waste your time. Because it's not like, it's one thing if you're saying something outlandish, which most of the time you're not. You just say, hey, let's get together and get a drink. Hey, let's, meet up and get some coffee. Like, it's something regular. So if she's interested in you, she will say, okay, yeah, that sounds good. And, y'all will set up a time to meet up, and then you'll meet up. But a lot of times, if he's like, hey, let's go get some coffee, and she's like, oh, but how about we do this instead? And blah, blah, blah. And she's making it difficult. That's already showing you that she doesn't really have that much interest in you, because if she did, she would just go along with what you're doing, because she knows that if she's dealing with you and she's interested, she doesn't want to ruin the situation by being very difficult. You see what I'm saying? So
right,
right. So if you see the difficulties coming through, that's a sign that she's not really that interested, and most likely she'll waste your time. You see what I'm saying?
Now I got a question. Like, and tell me if I'm wrong on this, or maybe if this is fair. But say someone, because I met some girls on dating apps and everything, and they've lived like maybe 30 minutes away, and they say when you mention go somewhere near where you live, they're like, oh, that's too far. Can we meet somewhere in between? I mean, is that kind of like a sign, or is that like kind of like a good like excuse? What would your opinion on that be?
If she's like, hey, let's meet in between. Like if you say, hey, meet me here, and she's like, it's kind of far and all that other stuff. Well, it's the thing. It doesn't necessarily mean technically that she's a time waster, because she's at least trying to figure out a way to see you. The only thing that means is that she doesn't necessarily have extremely high interest in you. That's all that means. You know what I mean? Which is a different thing. So she could have interest in you and interest in meeting you, but she doesn't have high interest, because if she had high interest, she would come and meet you wherever you say to meet you at the place. But if she has medium interest, she's like, oh, he seems cool, whatever. She might say, oh, but this is kind of far. Can we meet in the middle? Right? So the fact that she's at least talking about or responding to what you're talking about, then that's a good sign. That's good that she's doing that. It's only when the woman is a lot of times trying to change what you're talking about or ignore what you're talking about and talk about something else, then she's usually a time waster. So if you say to a girl, hey, let's meet, at this location, right? And she's like, oh, well, that's kind of far, but can we meet like in the middle? Because I'm all the way in such and such. And you'd be like, all right, cool. Well, this and this and that. Y'all set that time. And by her showing interest that she wants to meet, then that's most likely not a time waster. Now, if you say to a girl, hey, meet me at this location, and the next thing she says as a response to that is, oh, well, how about we get to talk and know each other more? She's most likely a time waster. You see what I'm saying? Because she's not responding to actually getting together. She's like, well, I want to do what I want to do on my agenda, on my time. And again, I'm being difficult, which in essence is going to be the thing that's going to make it to where she might lose out on you. And women know this. See, women, they're very clever. They know these things. They know the types of guys that they can, play that game with and the types of guys they can't. And so what happens is when they meet a guy that they're really, really interested in, which is rare in a lot of cases, they're like, I don't want to mess anything up. So I'm like, okay, let me just he's like, oh yeah, let's meet here. Okay, cool. I'm free this day. And they're going with it because they want to meet him and they want to see what's going to go down. So anytime when she's having some sort of resistance or she's all over the place, all that really means is that she's not really that interested in most cases, and most likely she's going to waste your time.
Right. You know what thing? I used to fall for that. Especially mostly on the dating apps though, when a girl wouldn't want to get the number, I would if I asked for the number, she's like, well, I don't know you. I'd actually text her or message her for the next couple of days, and I realized I would still not get a number after asking in a couple of days. And then but it's a learning experience. Or right now, like I say, if a girl doesn't get a number, I just and Steve Dean taught me this, because and it's true. I pretty much say, hey, I'm a guy who knows what he wants, so I meet a woman who knows what she wants. So you obviously don't seem like the type of girl who doesn't know what she wants, so I'm gonna move on.
And you know what else you could do too? Sometimes I tell guys this, let's say, because usually what guys get is they get that same, hey, can we get to know each other more? Let's talk on here more. I want to get to know you.
Right.
Get that a lot. Or let me know more about you, whatever, right? So what I suggest guys do is, let's say you're on a dating app and you say to a girl, hey, let's get a drink this weekend. And, this Saturday. And she's like, oh, but I don't really know you. Can we get to know each other more, right? So what I would tell you to the guys to do is this, you say, okay, well, listen, this is what we'll do. I'm going to give you my number. Here's my number. And I want you to call me on this day and we'll get to know each other more. Right. And then you say, hey, are you free to talk this day? We'll talk this day and we'll get to know each other more. Right. So if she says, okay, cool. Yes. Then you give her the opportunity to call you and get back to you. Now, the reason why you do that is because if she's a time waster and she's like an attention whore, right? Usually what's going to happen is she's not going to call you. You understand? Right. Because she was really never interested in calling you or talking to you. She was just interested in keeping you on the app and keeping you going back and forth with her and just playing her game. But now that you put the responsibility in her hands to get to you, to get to know you, then that's more work on her part. So she really wants to get to know you. Okay, well, cool. You're going to have to take my number. You're going to have to put it in your calendar of when you're going to call me. You're going to have to actually call me and then get back at me to get to know me. So you got to put in some work to do the thing that you're trying to do. And a lot of times what happens is that the woman, they don't want to put in the work. They want you to put in the work, which is why they're saying, hey, let's get to know each other so you can keep talking to her and doing all that extra stuff so that she can get more attention. Now, there are times where women will call you and still want attention, but if they call you, that's good, because then now that they call you, you can only talk to them for like a minute and then you just set the date. So it's just going straight back into setting the date, and then you'll actually see if she's going to be a time waster or not. Because at that point, you say, okay, cool. Well, listen, let's meet up Friday. We talked on the phone. Let's meet up Friday. Let's make it happen. And then at that point, if she's not trying to meet up or if she's acting all funny style, then you definitely know she's a time waster and you can just charge into the game at that point. You see what I'm saying?
Right. No, that's true. Yeah. Why do you think, because I'm sure there's a lot of girls that match with a lot of guys. How can they handle messaging all these guys at once? It's crazy.
Oh no, well the thing is, some
I
of
got
them,
like 50 phones.
yeah, but that's the thing. Some of them, they're on there mainly to do that. There's some women that are on dating sites that have no interest in meeting anybody. You understand what I'm saying? Like they use it as just a tool for a self-esteem boost a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? Like I was watching this TikTok once. This girl, she was talking about how she actually would set up, like she would match with these guys, set up a bunch of dates and then just not show up. Like she said, she set up hundreds of dates, like within the week. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
wow.
like just guy after guy. Oh yeah, let's meet up. We'll meet up. We'll meet up. We'll meet up. And she just won't meet up with anybody. But she was just doing that just because she can, and just because she liked the attention, and just she got a kick out of it. You see what I'm saying? And so that's the thing where for guys, this is why I tell guys, like, look, understand that there's going to be women out there that's going to be, time wasters, but also this is why you shouldn't be taking a lot of time texting a girl, trying to get to know her and do all that other stuff. Because imagine that same girl who was talking about she just sets up the dates and just like doesn't come in flakes or whatever. Imagine a guy talking to her for like a week or two straight. And then he's like, yeah, let's meet up. And she's like, okay, cool. And then the day to date comes, she doesn't show up or she doesn't respond. You see what I'm saying? He wasted 2 weeks talking to this woman for no reason. You know what I'm saying?
You know what though? I have talked with some women, because I like to, get the number. I do a little message. I get the number. I just sometimes I like to talk just to get a feel for who they are, personality wise before I waste my, go out. And they tell me, like, even sometimes on the date too, they tell me that, like, some of these guys will just message them, and then like they'll just continue, and it like doesn't go anywhere. So you have some guys that probably just don't know how to do it, but no, I agree with you, because sometimes, like, yeah, you can just message. I've heard it's happened to me. It's happened to friends of mine where they just like message and stuff, and like it doesn't go nowhere, and they complain about it. And that's when it's good to kind of be forward about that stuff, because, like, again, it just saves you a lot of time, and it saves you the frustration. Because I mean, I'd be pissed if I was like messaging a girl for 2 weeks and she's like building up all this interest and everything. Oh, we got Bernie in the house. I like his Mac Lives Matters post. Bernie, welcome.
But no, yeah, a lot of them, they'll do that. That's what I'm saying. Like, guys underestimate the how important attention is to women, because also you got to understand this, because women generally are in situations where they'll get guys who will have sex with them and then like ghost them, or have sex with them, never call them again, and just like kind of just or it'll fall off at some point quickly, right after the sex happens. What a woman will do is that sometimes she wants to go on to 3-4 dates or talk on the phone a lot and everything like that, because she knows that at some point it might fall off quickly. So now she can feel as if, well, you know what? He did ghost me, but he took me out at least 4 times. We went to dinner, we talked. So like, it's almost like it seems like a trade-off. It's like, well, you got the sex, but at least I got all of your attention for the past 2 weeks or a month or so. You see what I'm saying? And so that's kind of like how they're looking at it, is that they're like, well, if you want to get sex from me, let me at least get some attention out of this guy. So if it falls apart, I at least feel like I got something, else outside of the situation happening. So it kind of justifies it in her mind. It's like, well, we did kind of get to know each other. We liked each other. It just fizzled out, type of thing. Versus this was just a guy who just hit it and quit it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
So the first story sounds better than the second. You feel what I'm saying? So that's what happens.
Right. No, that's cool. At least something came about all that stuff, just by taking, spending the time and stuff. And no, I've had that happen a couple times where, like, yeah, I'd see, it's weird. Some of my, people I meet on, mostly on the apps, like I'd see them maybe like, 3 or 4 times, and then they would just like disappear, But and then I've recently, had some people who are like, I'd still manage to keep on, but like, I don't know, but I never like. See, my motto is like I go out, I just be the fun guy and stuff. I don't like to take anyone out for dinner or nothing, just mostly drinks. If someone does order dinner, I make sure they pay for it,
Right.
But I think I was actually I was on a date last week, and it was very interesting. Like, I actually, I didn't. The girl was being very like before the date. She was just like joking around, sending me all this weird stuff. She like said she was going to need that I was going to need a shrink after the date on Monday. I don't know what, but this girl like she didn't really take herself seriously, so it was hard to tell. But I don't know, like I told her like do drinks, and sure enough she got like she wanted to have like street tacos and shit
Oh
like that.
God. Oh
And
God.
well, I looked at the price. I'm like, okay, it's $7, and I'm gonna order them, and I'm gonna take half of those street tacos. I just like get another plate. I'm like, okay, well, you're paying for that one,
Right.
but then after I made her pay for that one, I never heard from her again.
See, and that's the thing, and you got to understand, some women don't just go out with you because they want, the meal. Is as ridiculous as that sounds, women will still do this because, what's funny is that guys have to never underestimate how women will utilize guys for certain things. Like for example, just like how we might have a woman that we like, guys utilize women for sex, meaning we have girls that will be like, okay, well, she's just the girl I'm gonna have sex with. You understand?
Right.
If I'm horny, I might call her up or whatever, and I'll use that situation for that specifically. Right? That's generally what guys will do. Women do the same thing also with sex, but they also do it with attention. They also do it with like dates, money, all that other stuff. So they have more avenues to utilize men, men for. Like most guys, we don't go and look for women to like have conversations with. We're not like, oh, this really hot girl, I'm gonna just use her to talk. Like we don't do that. You understand what I'm saying? But women will do that when it comes to us because they get value out of that interaction. You know what I'm saying with the man. So for example, even with going out, we're not necessarily going to look at a girl and be like, well, I'm going to use her to give me some to buy me some tacos. You know what I mean? Like we'll just buy tacos on our own. We're like, we don't care. We're going to go do what we got to do. But for a woman, it's more fun and more of an ego boost to get the guy to buy her tacos than for her to go buy the tacos herself. So it's just better when for her in her mind to utilize you for that. So the thing that I tell guys that you got to understand that that's a win for a woman. They'll do that, and it's like a thing. So what I tell guys is you got to be aware of this so you don't get used. You see what I mean? And so that's the problem where guys feel like, well, like I want to get to the sex, so I guess I got to just do this to get to the sex. But a lot of times you might not even get to the sex because she has no sexual interest in you, but she's using you for those things because the using of you in these other interactions that's non-sexual is still valuable to her. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, exactly. We have a question here in the chat. It's like, can a chick feel you, but you don't feel her?
I mean, of course.
yeah, I've had that happen all the time.
Yeah, that's just how like this. Some of the girls are gonna be, you're gonna feel you just not feeling them. It's just, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, yeah. Sometimes you're gonna actually go out on those dates, and you're just not gonna have the vibe with the girl. They're like,
right.
Like especially if you've been catfish. I don't know if you've ever been catfish before, but
I've been catfish before.
Like I was supposed to have this date with this babe, but it turned out to be like a 500-pound lady.
I've had that happen. Actually, like I had that happen a few times back in the day, and then I was like, nah, this is like, because it was like, it was like this one girl where it was funny too because she looked like 10 years older than her pictures. She looked 10 years older, and she was heavier. And I'm just like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, oh, this is like, and it's like,
but that happens. That's a part of like going out, being on this journey, though.
Yeah. And it's like you already feel like at that moment you're wasting your time because it's like you're like, oh my God, it's like, what the hell? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And you kind of, but you have to cut the date short. I remember the one time I met a girl at a supermarket. I got her number. We went out on a coffee date, and like she was so nervous because I don't know what the hell was going, but she like had like a little vape pen. She's like, and I'm very fucking good at like talking to people. Like and like I could not get her to open up. She was so shy, and then it was 15 minutes into the date. She's like, hey, do you still want to stay here? I'm like, no, I got to go somewhere.
Right.
But I didn't get that energy from her when I met her. She probably just, I don't know, maybe she took some drugs or something before we met up or some shit like that. I don't know.
Mhm.
But no, and that's true. So like I was gonna say too, when people are out there, like not just going online and stuff, but when they have the interactions, like when they're talking to girls in public, is there a way that women will waste your time doing that too, or no, or?
Oh yeah, well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, well, and in those situations, that's really, it's the guy's fault also too, where if you're approaching a woman in the street and you're trying to talk to her, you're trying to make something happen, a lot of guys get really excited that a woman is interested in talking to them. So they may, because the thing is that guys are scared to approach. And so if they get a situation where they actually mustered up the courage to approach a woman, and they say, hi, hey, what's up, or whatever they say, to the woman, and let's say she's actually inviting and having a conversation with him, he's excited at the fact that she's having a conversation with him. But the thing is that he's not focused on actually seeing, is this woman really interested in me versus just interested in having a conversation with me, which is two different things. You see what I'm saying? And so what happens is you might come across a woman who is really just interested in having a conversation with you. And then what happens is when you try to exchange numbers or give her your number, whatever it is, then you realize, oh, she's not really trying to make anything happen. She's rejecting it. Like I had a friend, this is the funniest thing ever, where he told me how he met this girl in the park or whatever, and they were talking, he's like, hey, what's up? They start talking. He said they talked for an hour. A whole hour. And he says to her, hey, listen, this is really fun. We should get together again sometime. Let me get your number or whatever. And she says, oh, no, I can't have a boyfriend. Right. So he's talked a whole hour with this woman. Who has
God, that's going to be
right?
horrible.
And so, he wasted a whole hour talking to her and not realizing that she wasn't available. Or let's say she could have just been lying also or whatever. But either way, he wasn't getting with her. And he took this whole time talking to her, but she was interested in talking to him because he was saying, oh, she was smiling. She was giving him that energy. And she was looking like it was almost like she seemed like she was attracted to him. But at the end of the day, she wasn't really going to make anything happen. Therefore, he wasted his time. You see what I'm saying? So guys have to understand the difference between, a woman actually wanting to talk to you or just interested in your conversation or interested in you. And the way that you do that, again, is you got to be direct. You got to be quick about your conversations and your interactions, so you don't sit there talking to a girl for an hour. You walk up to her and be like, hey, listen, miss, I think you're attractive. Me and you should get together and make something happen. You understand? And the thing is that at least at that moment, she can make that decision to say yes or no. So you don't waste her time having these long drawn out conversations with a woman who really has no interest in you anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But when you think though, this was my problem at first too, and I've managed to cut down my interactions. But I had the mindset though that you had to talk to a girl for a while to kind of build a connection. So that's why I would get into these long conversations. But I really, even though I closed with the number, I was still getting nowhere with I didn't get any response from the number. But I heard a lot of people say too, you want to have a prolonged interaction to build a connection because the girl might not, God has to get to know you. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, well, that's the thing. It's not about building a connection. It's more so seeing if there is a connection. You see what I'm saying? That's the difference. The problem is that guys think that they have to talk to her longer, spend more time, go, building the rapport or whatever it is in order to get the girl interested. Now, there are times where that can happen. You understand? Meaning where, let's say at first a girl was kind of like, oh, this guy's all right. And then you're talking to them and then for whatever reason, they start to warm up and like you. You understand? More than they did, 10 minutes ago. But generally speaking, what you're looking for is if there is a connection, if there is chemistry, from the jump when you start talking. So let's say, for example, I walk up to a random girl and I say, hey, how you doing? How's your day going? And let's say she doesn't even look at me and she's looking away from me and she's like, oh, I'm good. Right. She just says it just like that. Right. Versus if I go up to a girl and I say, hey, how you doing? How's your day going? And she looks at me, she smiles. She's like, oh, hey, how are you? My day's great. How's your day? Right. So now, two different responses. Now, the second woman, most likely, she's a little bit more interested in talking to me. She most likely is more attracted to me than the first girl, and so forth and so on. So
because based off the situation, because the other one's kind of being
right,
despondent and everything,
exactly,
right?
right. So based off of the reaction of the woman, then you know, okay, cool. This second girl right here, let me take it a little further. The first girl, she's already showing, you know, like disinterest. So it's going to be like pulling teeth to try to make something happen. And most likely she's not going to be interested in anyway. So I don't really necessarily, the second girl, I don't have to talk to her long. I can sort of see based off of her reaction just from the jump of how, you know, there's some sort of interest there, meaning that even at this point, I at least know she's interested in having a conversation with me based off of her response. So now I'm like, okay, is this girl really interested in just having a conversation with me, or is she interested in me? So now what I'll do is that I'll turn it up a notch. So now that I see that she's smiling, she's, you know, being very receptive, I say, listen, you know, you got a man, your smile is so fucking amazing. Like, you're gorgeous. Listen, I think me and you need to get together and hook up. Like, I'm not even going to BS you, but I think me and you really need to get together and make something happen. And now if I see that she's responding like positively to that, she starts smiling, blushing, like, oh my God, you would say that to all the girls. And, you know, we're flirting now, right? So
Right.
now what happens is that I'm taking it from just her having the conversation to trying to pull out an interaction to see if there is some sexual chemistry there between me and her. You see what I'm saying? So what's happening is that I'm turning it up a notch to see what it's really about. You see what I'm saying? And then once I say to her, hey, once I see that there's that sexual interest there, then I say, hey, listen, you know what? I'm gonna give you my number, and I'll take your number, and we'll set up something for this week or whatever it is like that, right? So now, after I see that there's some sort of sexual interest, there's some sort of flirtatious, you know, energy there, where she's showing at least that it's going a step beyond just having a conversation, because she's showing that interest by what I said. Then this girl is most likely not, it is never 100%, but this girl's most likely the type of woman who might not waste my time. You understand what I'm saying? Versus if I just go to a girl and I have a regular conversation and she's having a regular conversation back, I'm not really flirting, I'm not really building any sexual tension, and I get a girl's number, and then let's say I hit her up, or I give her my number, she hits me up or whatever it is like that. I still at this point don't really know if this girl's going to be a time waster, you know, in most cases, because I haven't introduced any flirtatious energy into the interaction. So I have, like, she could just like talking to me. She could just be like, oh, let me put this guy in the friend zone. It'll be great. I could have another guy in the friend zone. Like, I don't know at this point. So the thing that's going to separate knowing if a girl is actually having interest in you or not, or is going to waste your time, is being direct, flirting, building sexual tension, and seeing how she responds to that. You see what I'm saying?
Right, and then it's just so like based off, like, you know, calibrating the situation, you can kind of know whether or not you like to go for the close. Now, see, now most guys, in order to like do that, they have to like have the right mindset to do that, though, because that could be rough for a lot of guys who are not used to going out there and flirting in
Right.
front of girls and being direct. I that was one thing I kind of struggled with when I first went out there and started working on this. Is like I just had a hard time being direct. I mean, I would do like a direct opener, but then I just go into like a conversation. But you know, I kind of had to learn, and I'm still working on this today. But like I had to like kind of like be more direct and kind of clear with what I want, you know, rather like than having a long conversation. But sometimes I still get back in my old mindset, you know, like, oh crap, I think like the reason why this isn't turning out is because I'm not having like a engaging conversation. So I swing back and forth. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And you know what it is. I think what confuses a lot of guys is because what happens is, for most dudes, they're in a situation where they don't have enough experience dealing with women who want to talk to them, period. So when they get any girl that's giving them any type of attention when it comes to interactions, as far as conversations are concerned, they think that automatically means the woman is interested in him. Because he's like, well, if she wasn't interested in me, she wouldn't be talking to me, but she is talking to me, so that means she's interested, which is not true. You see what I'm saying?
No, it's not.
Right.
Yeah,
Because again, and that goes with the whole time wasting thing, is that, and as far as like what you were saying about being direct, is that a lot of times guys, um, they're not comfortable being direct, right? Because they're not used to it. But what happens is that the more used to that you get, the harder it is to go back to being indirect, because you know that it's a chance you're going to waste your time. So it's like once you start to realize and recognize how being direct saves you time, it's almost like it's hard to go back to being indirect, because what you realize is that the successes that you have from being direct, right? You have that reference experience, like, oh yeah, I remember that one other time when I told this girl this, that we made things happen, and there was another girl I told this and we made things happen. And on the flip side, you realize that the rejections you got were swift and quick. So then you're like, oh, I didn't have to go back and forth. She already just like, just like stopped talking to me, or just was unresponsive to that. The problem is that guys think, and this is what most guys think, is they think that they can get a woman who's not interested in them to somehow become interested in them, which never happens. See, I always tell guys this: women are they're either interested or not interested, right? Now, when it comes to a woman being interested, there's levels to it. So I always say there's high interest, medium interest, and low interest.
Right. I've heard you say that before. Yeah.
So those are that's the interested part. But then you have the side over here where there's no interest. When a woman has no interest in you, it doesn't matter how long you talk to her, it doesn't matter how much stuff you say, she's just not interested in you. It's not going to happen. It's over. Keep it moving. Now, what happens is that if a woman has some sort of interest in you, yes, there's times where you can talk to her and make her interest, get to another level where she starts to like you more. The only part about that, though, is that, let's say, for example, you meet a woman who has like medium interest in you, meaning, she'll go out on a date with you, whatever, but she's not really like all the way feeling you, but she'll hang out with you a little bit. The problem with that is when she has medium or low interest, is there's still a chance that you're going to be wasting your time. You see what I'm saying? Because it's 50-50 with that woman, meaning
can you build that?
Right. So 50% you could get it and build it, but then 50% means that on the other side, meaning that it won't turn into anything. You understand what I'm saying? So
right.
That's the chance you take when you're dealing with a situation like that,
Yeah, exactly. It's weird when I learned that after watching one of your shows. I kind of realized I tend to have, I get, if I go out on a date with a girl, I tend to get, have the same night lay, or see her again when the interest is high, compared to like if it's in between. Sometimes if it's in between, like I don't know, I'm very good at this. I'm a very intuitive person, and like just kind of just going out and being social a lot more. I've been more intuitive and stuff, so I kind of engage people's interest level. And I realized, like, the ones that that I tend to like can say it where the energy is there and the interest is there. I go in for the kiss, and I go in for a kiss after every date,
Right.
And I know they'll like be more acceptable to that, whereas the other ones they won't. They'll just kind of turn away, or you're going to it. Or sometimes when you give them the hug, they'll just kind of turn like this or something. Or if you go to kiss, they're like, oh no, they pull back like that.
Right. Yeah, that'll definitely happen sometimes too. And it's like, and that's why I always tell guys it's good to go in for the kiss and have, like, I always say for guys, if you're on a date with a girl and you don't kiss her, you're wasting your own time, because you don't even see if the girl is interested in you in some sort of sexual fashion, because you need to see, because if the girl doesn't want to kiss you, right, that's showing that she doesn't have any interest in you sexually. And then therefore you can just sort of stop it right there. Because, you hear like guys, they'll say, oh, but I heard some girls say they don't kiss on the first date. That's BS. You understand what I'm saying? They're saying that to you because they want to waste more time with you. You understand? They want to, oh yeah, we'll do it the next time or whatever. And so I tell guys, listen, if you don't want your time wasted, you definitely have to flirt, build sexual tension, try to get a kiss on that first date. And if she's not trying to do that, then you just you need to keep it moving, because all that's telling you is that she really doesn't have an interest in you like that, and then you're not wasting your time on this woman. You see what I'm saying? It's
right.
Real simple.
Right. No, I agree. No, so I was in a situation one time where, okay, I went in for the kiss and everything, I felt the energy on the date, and then at the next date, because we met somewhere in between. This is one of those girls who lived like, a little ways away. and I suggested, well, hey, let's go grab some bite to eat around here and maybe catch like a Marvel flick on Netflix or Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got like, well, I'm not, really comfortable with that. Is that a sign of not interest too, or just, or
So she said she wasn't comfortable with what?
With well, when I mentioned we can go grab a bite to eat around my place and come back to and watch a movie or something.
Right.
Or was I not being clear with her? But I mean, do you think that was a sign of not interest?
Yeah, well, that's the sign of like disinterest. Because again, this is what I always tell guys: whatever you're ready to do, you understand what I'm saying? And she's ready to do now. It doesn't. And when I say disinterest, what I meant to say is it's not necessarily like she's not interested at all. She like her interest isn't high, I should say. That's a sign of her having medium or low interest. Because this is the thing: when a woman has high interest, she's ready to do damn near whatever you're saying. You understand what I'm saying? Like with no resistance. You see what I mean? And what women will do generally is they'll say, "Well, I'm not that type of girl. I wouldn't do that with anybody." They just haven't met the guy they would do that with yet. You understand what I'm saying? That's all it is. You see what I mean? And so the thing is that when they do meet the guy they will do that with, then it will get done. The problem is that a lot of times what a woman will do is that they meet so many guys or interact with so many guys that they're not interested in, or they're not that interested in. They have that, medium interest. Therefore, it becomes like normal. It's almost like, for example, let's say, I met or I dated a bunch of girls, right? And a lot of these girls said to me, "Hey, Locario, I really like you. I want you to be my boyfriend." And I'm like, "Nah, I don't really do the boyfriend thing. I'm not like a boyfriend type of guy. I don't do that type of stuff," right? That's not true. It just means that I don't want to be your boyfriend. I'm not thinking about you as a girlfriend. But if I met a girl that I really liked and wanted to keep seeing, and then she will eventually be my girlfriend. You see what I'm saying? So it's not that I don't do girlfriends or do a girlfriend situation. It's just that I'm not doing a girlfriend situation with that particular girl or that particular girl or that particular girl. You see what I'm saying? So the same thing applies for when a girl is dealing with a guy when it comes to sex and all that other stuff. It's not that I don't do this and I don't kiss on the first date. No, she's not doing that with this guy or that guy or that guy. The right guy she will do that with, period.
Right. No, exactly. Oh, we got another question here from John. Like, this is probably a good one. How do you know when to go for the kiss on the medium interest girl? I would say just do it, like at the end, depending on the date, and just see what happens.
This is the thing. A lot of it too is you gotta feel out the situation. You understand what I'm saying? See, a lot of it is, I think what the problem with most guys when it comes to this too is that it's not just like if I say to a guy, "Hey, listen, you should kiss a girl on the first date," right? That doesn't mean that you're on the date with her. Y'all are sitting there, let's say, getting a drink or whatever, or talking, and then just mid-sentence, you just grab her and just kiss her. You know what I'm saying?
I don't do it that way, man.
Right. Like it's something that's supposed to flow into the situation. It should flow. You understand? So it's kind of like, it's just like, okay, for example, it's just like when you're having a conversation, right? We're having a conversation right now about dating, relationships, whatever, right? And let's say like I'm talking about women and you're talking about women, we're talking about dating, and then literally right in the middle of the sentence of me saying something, I said something totally off the wall about something. So if I said, yeah, when you go on a date with a girl and you're about to kiss her, what you want to do is get a bunch of guns and go on the top of the Empire State Building and jump off and shoot the terrorists. You're like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, where did that come from? You understand what I'm saying? Like, that makes no sense. What are you doing? And that's what happens with a lot of guys where they'll just kiss the girl just like out of the blue. You understand? Now, what I'm saying is that smoothly transition into it. This is why I tell guys when you're having a conversation, start flirting. You understand? Once you start flirting, the flirtatious conversation will lead it smoothly into the kiss. So if I'm talking to a girl, you can be talking about anything. We could be talking about freaking whatever. We can talk about the current events news and whatever. You're like, "Oh yeah, did you hear about that thing with so-and-so actor in that movie? Oh yeah, that's crazy. I saw his movies, blah, blah, blah." And then as we're having a conversation, we start moving to different topics. And I say, "You know what? Man, you know, I noticed like this whole time I'm talking to you, I can't keep my eyes off your lips. Like your lips look so juicy, like so smooth. Like what type of lip gloss you got? Oh, really? And then she's smiling and she's flirting back with me or whatever. And I say, listen, hold on. I was like, close your eyes for a second. Close your eyes. I'm about to kiss you. Close your eyes. I want you to have your eyes closed when I kiss you, right? So now I'm transitioning from talking about regular stuff to talking about her lips to going into the kiss. You see what I'm saying? So all it is just flowing into it. You understand what I'm saying? And so that's the thing, is that if you're flowing into it, then you'll most likely make it happen and get the kiss. The problem is, though, is that if she doesn't want to kiss you, right, that's showing that she's going towards the low interest or probably has no interest. You understand? And meaning that she's on, because this is the thing. A woman can go from having interest in you to having no interest in you. You see what I'm saying? So a woman could go from like having medium or low interest in you to transitioning to no interest in you because of something you said or did or just the vibe or whatever, and she's just not feeling it.
Oh, really? All that stuff can affect that. So she can actually have, like, I know you talk about that a lot too, but she can actually find you interesting, and then like that kind of just like you say the wrong thing or something
Oh
comes
yeah,
off like wrong, and
it
it's
can
just like,
totally. That's what I'm saying. Like there's certain things that it's like this is the thing. You can transition from interest to no interest, but you can't really transition from no interest to interest. You understand what I'm saying? If
yeah,
that makes sense. So
right.
that's
No, I got you.
right. So that's the thing. So the thing is, a woman could be interested in you, and then all of a sudden be not interested in you. But the problem is that a lot of guys think a woman could have no interest in you, and then all of a sudden have interest in you, which is not going to happen. You see what I'm saying? It's kind of like, you know, like the idea or the thought of understanding a woman having no interest in you means that it's kind of like for a guy, like let's say you see a woman who has like missing teeth, her breath smells like 2-day-old fish, she's like, you know, out of shape, she's like, you know, like all, she's just every unattractive thing you can think of.
Sounds like the hottest date in the world.
You know what I'm saying? Like you have no interest in her. There's nothing she can do and say to make you want her. It's just like we're done. You understand? But what happens is that there is a girl that you might meet that you're interested in, and then she might do or say something that makes you have no interest in her. So let's say, for example, you're on a date with this girl. She's beautiful. You're like, oh my gosh, she's hot or whatever, and you're interested. And then she says, I have a secret to tell you. I was born a man. Now you have no interest. You know what I'm saying?
Right?
Most likely,
No. I hear you. Yeah. Okay.
you know,
I see the analogy now.
interest,
Yeah.
right? So you went from having interest. So that's what I'm saying. Where women are the same way, where there's something that happened that made her have no interest. You see what I'm saying?
So you're making me think of like when you go on these dating apps, and sometimes I match with these girls and they turn out to be transvestites. And
oh yeah.
And then I have, I called one. I remember I didn't even realize that the girl was a transvestite, and then when I called, I'm like, something's very off about this person's voice. So I was on the app, and I'm like, oh man, and then she was honest about that. I'm like, well, I'm sorry, I gotta go.
It's like, no, we're good. I'm sorry. You know, no, it's crazy. That happens too. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, exactly. Funny thing. The other day, I matched with a girl on Tinder that I matched with like 3 years ago. When it's funny. So I got the number. I moved her off the app, and it turns out I still had her number. I remember the last text I sent her. Like I asked her, so when are we still on for Thursday? And she never got back to me.
Right,
So
right.
I'm like, okay, I like right away when I saw that, I'm like, oh god, I have a feeling like this girl's gonna be a waste of my time again. She's like one of those serial online dating girls who likes to get a lot of attention.
Right. Yeah, that happens, and it's like it's crazy. That's part of the game. But this is why it's so important. I tell guys when it comes to understanding your time, because your time is important, and nothing feels like guys are worried about getting rejected. I feel like rejection is nothing. Getting your time wasted, I feel like, is the worst. Like that's way worse than getting rejected. Getting your time wasted is the worst because you can't get that back. You understand? It's like you when you sit back and you look at it, you're like, man, I took this woman out on 3 dates. I spent this much money. I spent this much time on the phone with her. I did all this other stuff, and like, where's it going? Nothing. You see what I'm saying? And so what I suggest guys do is to look for the women who have interest in you. You understand? Who have high interest in you, the women who are about what you're about from the jump, so that you can actually spend your time more wisely. And this is the thing I'll tell guys to do also for women who seem like they have like medium or low interest or kind of like wishy-washy, whatever. Just tell them girls to get back to you. You know what I mean? Like, so like if, let's say, for example, you say to a girl, hey, you know, like, let's get together and like hook up or whatever. She's like, oh, well, I'm not that type of girl. You know what, guys? Well, listen, miss, you know what? I respect what you're saying, and I definitely, you know, I feel you. But, you know, I'm attracted to you. I think me and you should get together sometime. So you have my number. If whenever you're ready to make this happen, give me a call. And then you just keep it moving so that you still have the door open to where she can come back, but you're not taking time out to talk to her on the phone, going on more dates, none of that stuff. You see what I'm saying? So if she
that's very true. Yeah.
Right. She can get back at you. And if she don't, then you just keep it moving. You don't have to waste any more time on her. You see what I'm saying? Because this is the thing. You can always get a woman who has medium interest or low interest and seduce her into liking you more and to get her to you know, have more interest in you, and things could pop off. The problem with that, and I tell guys this is that you're still leaving yourself open to getting your time wasted half the time. You understand? And then especially if your game is weak, you're probably going to get your time wasted like 85-90% of the time. So the problem is that you're spending more time on endeavor that's probably going to yield little to no results. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's the thing, you know.
No, that's so true. You know, and I've learned that, you know, time is very important, especially like now that I'm busy doing like a lot of things. You know, it's just like I realize the importance of just being, you know, just forward with, you know, girls, especially when you're on the dates, because like, plus like, you know, not just time, but my money too.
Right.
You know, and so, and it's always good to, like, yeah, like I said, sometimes like if you're not used to it, it's going to be hard to be forward, you know. And I, you know, even though I go out there and do it, I still like struggle sometimes. But you know, I still continue to push myself to grow, to, you know, just kind of grow out of my old way of thinking. But I mean, I realized just by doing that, you know, it saves a lot of time. And I don't know, like I can tell who's interested. Like, you know, when I go on these dating apps, I like I said, I do a message or two, go for a phone number. Like I don't message all the time like I used to. I used to do all that stuff, and I wasted a lot of time, like we were talking about earlier.
Right.
And I realized
like the same thing. That's what I'm saying. Like I used to do the same thing, man. Listen, there's times where, and you know, it's funny, and I tell guys this is very, very important for you guys to watch out for. There are women who are so clever at roping you into conversations. You understand? Where to the point where you won't even realize you've had this long drawn out conversation till it's, you know, till you're in the middle of it. You're like, damn, why am I? How do we even get here where I'm chatting with you back and forth? And it's like, so what happens is that what someone will do is that they'll give the illusion that they're going to make something happen with you. So, for example, like you'll be on a dating site and you'll say to a girl, hey, you free to, you know, get together for a drink this Friday, whatever. And she'll be like, oh, I'm not sure. I have to get back to you on that. Right. And then what she'll do right after that, she'll start to ask you a question. So where are you from? And what do you do? Whatever. Right now, because she didn't say no to getting a drink, she said, maybe I got to get back to her. I got to check my schedule. You're still willing to talk to her because you're like, well, she didn't reject me, so I don't want to ignore her, because then if I ignore her, she might reject me. You see what I'm saying? So now she has you basically on hold so that she can extract as much attention from you. You understand what I'm saying? And so that you can keep talking to her. So you got to be careful about that, because she'll be very clever to try to rope you into the conversation.
He's right. You're right. You know, sometimes I just respond, like give them the response on, hey, what about my other question I asked you, you know?
Right. And again, all you can do is say, she was like, oh, well, you know, I'm not sure. I got to check my schedule. And then when she starts asking you other questions, you be like, okay, well, listen, how about you check your schedule? and then get back to me and let me know if you see what I mean? Like just go straight back to that so you don't get roped into the conversation. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of women love to do, or they'll do the thing where they'll say stuff like, you'd be like, "Oh, are you free this Friday?" "Oh, actually, I'm gonna be out of town this Friday, but can we do it, probably next week or something, right? Or maybe I can." But they're not really committing to anything. And then so what happened is that throughout that whole time when they're out of town, or supposedly, they'll talk to you and it'll rope you into the conversation because they have you on hold for next week to see what's going to happen next week. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So you got to be careful about how women will rope you into these, conversations and interactions. You see what I mean?
Right. I normally, sometimes I've gotten that too. I'm like, okay, well, let me know when you get back and I'll follow up with you.
Right. Exactly. That's what you got to do. They'll try. I'm telling you, they will talk to you to death. They'll go back and forth with you. And then this is the funny part. Because I remember I had that happen where this one girl, she did that and she was super clever. And I didn't realize until like after, or that it was happening. I was like, shit. I was like, oh my God, I'm sitting here talking to this woman. Because, she was like, she was like, yeah, I'm going to be out of town. Can I get back to you tomorrow? Because I got to check my schedule. I said, cool. And then next thing you know, she gets back to me and she's like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, what's good? So when are you free? And then she's like, oh, I actually got to check the schedule for the rest of the week because my work thing, blah, blah, blah. But then every time when she would deflect, she would go and ask me something to respond. You understand what I'm saying? So she was clever. So she would say, oh, so what do you like to do when you go out? Like if we go out, what are we going to do? You understand? So she's basically saying to me, yeah, I'm thinking about going out with you, but what are we going to do when we go out? So now we're talking about, and I'm just like, wait a second, why am I talking to her about what are we going to, and then next thing you know, what happened is, long story short is, when I noticed that she was trying to rope me into these conversations. So I said to her, hey, listen, just let me know when you're free so we can set something up, right? So then she was responding to me, hit me up, and not really letting me know when she was free. She was just hitting me up, talking about, hey, what's up? How's it going? Blah, blah. So I was ignoring her. So I ignored her like maybe 3 or 4 times, and she hit me up 3 or 4 more times.
Oh, wow.
And I kept ignoring her. I didn't say nothing to her, right? And then what happened was, I think what happened was she kept hitting me up like maybe 6 or 7 more times. So then I responded to her and I said, hey, listen, it seems like you want to get in contact with me. So how about we set up a time to meet up? You know what this woman said to me? And I was like,
what?
She said, what's the rush? I blocked her. I was like, we're done. It's like, we're done. I was like, we're done. You see what I'm saying? So I'm telling you, women will try their best to get attention from you and waste your time. You just got to make sure that they don't do it. You got to cut them off. You got to say, hey, listen, just hit me up when you're ready, and then just stick straight to trying to make something happen. You see what I mean?
Right. I'm thinking it's like, because I remember I was on a consultation with Steve Ledeen, and I told him about this girl who messaged me on the app. She's like, oh, yeah, I'd really like to go meet you. And she's like, well, Steve's like, well, let's get the process rolling. Here's my number.
Right.
And then he replied back maybe an hour later. He's like, God, you're too fast.
Right, exactly.
I didn't go anywhere.
I'm telling you, that's what they'll do.
We have a question here. Why do women like so much attention? Is it because they feel insecure most of the time, you think? Or
I mean, that's part of it, but also, like I said earlier, is that attention is very, very important to women, because women generally don't get the attention, the non-sexual attention they want from men. Because you gotta understand, like, let's say you have a woman who's been single for a while. She wants like a boyfriend, like that's her goal, to get a boyfriend or husband or whatever it is, like that. And she's been meeting guys that she's attracted to. She might have been hooking up with a few of them or whatever, but the guys just kind of come and go. So now she's like, damn, I want more conversation. I want more interaction. I want to have, to share certain experiences with men. So then what happens is that she's going to be like, okay, well, let me try to get some attention out of these guys. So at least, even though this guy is not my boyfriend or husband, I can at least get the boyfriend and husband energy. And
right, yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
Sexual. Yeah, no, that's very interesting. Well, do you have any final thoughts? I gotta wrap this up here
Right.
because my computer battery's dying, and I actually got a date in 10 minutes.
Oh, nice.
I gotta walk to the bar. It's only 5 minutes.
But yeah, man. Just guys, remember, don't let them waste your time. Remember, if a woman's wasting your time, that's your fault. I just want you guys to understand that you have the power to not let these situations go where you know in that direction, and be direct. Let them know what you want, and if they're wishy-washy, just tell them to get back to you, and then set it up from that point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I agree, and yeah, that's definitely what you got to do, guys. Like, you know, just be direct, because you're gonna realize. I mean, the more like, even like as you get good at this, and the more dates you're getting, more women you meet on these apps or wherever, like it's gonna be time consuming. It's weird because I realized like ever since like I'd say September, October, I've been having like 3 or 4 dates a week. It's kind of crazy, and plus I got some girls I'm already seeing. So like you got to kind of, I learned that's the best thing to do. And I even walked out like during some dates sometimes, just because like like the girls like we're talking, and she's like said something like we were talking about someone saying the wrong thing. She said something about like, oh, I need a break from like real dating and stuff. I'm like, so does that mean I'm not going to see you again? She's like, well, yeah, that's what I'm like. Okay, well, I got to go because I can't waste my time.
Right.
So you got to do that, and definitely will help you out. And then they can find you. Be sure to check out.
Hit me up, badboymembership.com. That is the website. You join, get 45 through 90-minute audio and video dating advice tutorials every month. Also, hit me up at the main site, MrLocario.com, and you can get the Game Kings documentary there or on the Bad Boy membership. And make sure that you guys follow me on Instagram at @RealMrLocario. All right.
Rock on. Yeah, be sure you do that, guys. And if you guys haven't already, be sure to like the video, share, and subscribe if you haven't. And yeah, I look forward to having you on in January and everything, Locario. I actually had some ideas like we can talk about, like different types of dating. You know how they have different types of dating genres, whatever you want to call them, in the manosphere. I mean, you guys talk about this on the Sunday show a lot. So like, definitely, I want to address those issues more on the channel too, because I think a lot of guys can get, if they go into the wrong type of a field, like when I don't know how you want to say it, genre of dating coaches or something like that, they can get lost and everything.
Right, definitely.
Awesome, buddy. Well, thank you very much, and you enjoy.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for coming on and rock on. We spit some killer stuff for you guys. Rocking.